Hello there everyone, welcome to another World of Tanks console video with me, Wombo Leader, and a very quick disclaimer before you sit down to watch this. There is nothing fancy pants about this video. It's essentially going to be about 15 minutes of me waffling on about a particular subject whilst a rather interesting and tense battle plays out in the background at Kasserine in the AMX M445. We're in a tier 8 game, has quite an interesting finish. Maybe just watch it to the end. If you don't want to listen to me, whack it on mute. But yeah, this is like as simple a video as you can possibly put together. It takes about 1 minute's worth of editing and however long I sit here and blabble into the microphone. But yeah, this video is just about me wanting to talk about a particular subject, and I kinda put it together on the back of a lot of videos that came out recently from the established World of Tanks console YouTubers or community contributors who have been kind of talking a lot about the state of the game and some of the problems that are going with and some of the things that they would like to see get changed. Most of it, from what I have watched, kind of focuses on the fact that there's maybe some overpowered tanks in the game, like particularly at tier 10 when you're talking about World War II. Now, I don't really play Cold War, so I wouldn't really want to comment too much on it. I know probably the biggest complaint about Cold War is it's just too fast and too hectic and too manic, and maybe slowing it down a little bit and maybe bringing in the tactical nuance kind of World of Tanks was built on would maybe be beneficial to that game mode. But I'm going to talk about World War II here, and I'm going to take a sort of slightly different look at it, because I think, you know what, yeah, the Terran, the AVRE, the Ruthless, there's definitely certain tanks when you get to tier 10 that are overpowered and are horrible to come up against, but it affects tier 10 games, or I guess if you play tier 8, tier 9 and tier 10. I'm going to take a look at some of the things that I would, you know, fundamental changes to the game that I think would drastically improve the fun factor. There's certain aspects of this game that just sap the fun out of it. And that's the things that I would like to see get changed in order to make this a better gaming experience. And it's 100% entirely my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. For me, I'm right. For other people, I could be completely wrong. But this, in my opinion, is the biggest problems with the game at the moment. It's the things that sap the fun out of the game, and if they were to be changed, the game becomes more fun. The game should be fun. I think that's why most of us play any game at the end of the day. But I'm going to say some things in this video that people are going to vehemently disagree with, and that's absolutely fine. That is the way it should be. At the end of the day, as I said, it's just my opinion, and you're never going to please everybody at the end of the day. But yeah, I'm going to give you 3 things that I would fundamentally change about this game to improve the experience, to improve the fun, to keep people playing, to bring more tanks into the fold as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Sit back, because I'm about to start upsetting some of you. Okay then, fundamental change that I would make to the game, number 1, and let's just go in there hot. Let's just say it. Square class, Sky Cancer, scumbags, artillery. Let's just get it out the game. Let's just get it out of World War II. It is 100% the most fun-sapping element to this game. Now, I've been a gamer for 25 years, probably a little bit more than that. I have played hundreds of different multiplayer games. I can't think of a worse game mechanic I've ever come across. Now, don't get me wrong, yeah, if you drive round the corner into a Death Star or a Waffle or a FV4005, a Ruthless, a Terran, and get one-shotted, or ammo-racked, you know, and lose your entire health of your tank, it's annoying. It's really annoying. But you know what? At the end of the day, you've made, not necessarily a mistake, but you've made a bad call. You've driven round the wrong corner, you've ended up in the wrong location. They've still had to aim their gun at you. They've still had to pull the trigger and have a semblance of skill to then take your tank out. And yeah, RNG maybe comes into the fold, and believe me, I moan about RNG as much as anybody in this game, but it's a factor. And when, you know, once I'm not annoyed about it and I talk about it properly, you know, and talk about it from an objective point of view, I always admit that I have had as much good RNG as I've had bad RNG, you know, but artillery is just not RNG. You don't have to make a mistake, you don't have to play badly, you don't have to get unlucky, and yet somebody at the back of the map can hover a cursor or whatever over your tank, press a button and take half your health, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you're in a large heavy on certain maps with not enough cover, there's nothing you can do about it, you know. It's just the most unfun game mechanic I can ever possibly think of. And well, yeah, if you get anybody to talk truthfully about this game, if they would want artillery removed from it, they would. 100%. The first thing that anybody comments about when they go into a match, go, oh look, there's no artillery. That's like rejoicing. It's like we could actually enjoy this game. But then you go into like a map like Prokhorovka, and the first thing you look up is you go, oh, 2 artillery. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be like a fun game of World of Tanks. You already know you're about to have a terrible time for the next 5-6 minutes, particularly if you're in a large heavy tank, because all the artillery is going to do is focus you in the entire game, and there's going to be nothing you can do about it. Now, I'm getting harassed by artillery constantly in this game. We're down to 3 tanks, there's still 2 artillery. Now, I've got enough experience in this game, I can kind of play arty safe, you know, I'm using these rocks, but even so, it's massively dictating how I have to play the rest of this game, because I can't do anything. If I go out into any kind of open area whilst trying to engage the rest of this team, I just get splatted by artillery. So I've got to, they have such an influence on the game at this point that, yeah, to me, just get rid of it. You know, reimburse the people who have kind of grinded their way to tier 10 artilleries. Give them, you know what, I don't even care, give them 50,000 gold per artillery piece in their garage, and then maybe, I don't know, just have an artillery mode only, and they can go and click on each other to their heart's content in their own game mode. Yeah, just get rid of artillery. Nobody finds it fun. It is one of the most fun, it is the most fun sapping thing about the game, is getting smacked by artillery for half your health, losing 2 crew members, getting ammo racked, setting fire, and there's nothing you can do about it. You didn't make a mistake, you didn't get unlucky, it's just a terrible game mechanic in a game. So that's number 1. So that's all the artillery players gone, right? Okay, anybody still left? Let's move on to fundamental change number 2 that I would make. Okay, next up we're going to talk about premium rounds, but don't worry you premium spammers out there, I don't want to get rid of your high penetration rounds. I think they're absolutely fine to be in the game. I think it's good that there's options on ammo as well. What I do want to change is the fact that they do the same amount of damage as a standard round. The monetary cost of premium rounds, or the silver cost, is no deterrent whatsoever. Even for players who are losing 50,000 silver per game when they fire premium rounds, there is ways and means in this game to make that money back relatively quickly, and I know that's what a lot of people do. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I play Cold War to build up a war chest so I can fire premium rounds. So there's no deterrent. The silver cost of a premium round is not a deterrent whatsoever. So if you want to have a deterrent, if you don't want people just spamming these rounds all the time, because essentially if you don't care about the cost of them, there is no reason to not fire them, then what I would do is I would make their damage potential about 2/3 of a standard round. And you could justify this because as shell technology has evolved in real life, I know this is an arcade game, I know, don't come back at me with that, but you can justify by, you know, making premium rounds have less damage potential, because in real life, in order to up the penetration value of a shell, they remove the damaging element of it, so it has super high penetration and then just a little explosion inside the tank. And you could justify premium rounds doing the same thing in World of Tanks through that. But why would it also be a better idea? Well, here's one way to look at it, folks. I think this is the best way to look at why premium rounds are so annoying to the game. You are in an Orochi, okay? Tier 8 Japanese premium heavy tank. You've got 230mm of armour, all over the front of the tank. You are a giant, slow, lumbering beast with a bad gun. Okay, you've invested the entirety of your tank into that frontal armour. It's the only thing it's really got going for it. And then you come across, let's say, a huntsman, so like a tier 8 centurion, and you're faced off with that tank, and you go, ah, he only has 226mm of pen, and I've got 230mm of armour. It's going to be pretty hard for him to go through the front of my tank if I angle it well. I can get about 240, 250 effective frontal armour. He might go through with the odd shot, but the majority of shots are going to bounce off the front. But what does that huntsman then do? Well, he presses the X button, doesn't he? And he loads of premium rounds, and he basically goes, well, that's your armour effect then, isn't it? Your armour means nothing now. I can just shoot at the front of your tank and I'm going to go through 80% of the time. What button does the Orochi get to press to disadvantage the huntsman? He gets to press a button that disadvantages your tank. You don't have a button to press to disadvantage their tank. But what if happens if their rounds now only do 2/3 of the damage of their standard rounds? Well, you've just gained a third worth of hit points in your tank. Your hit points in your tank will now last a third longer. So they get an advantage by now being able to contest your frontal armour, but you get an advantage because your hit points now last longer. So it's an even trade. He can now damage you, but he can't do as much damage to you as quickly as he could. So to me, that's a much better way to make premium rounds work, because the heavy tank does not get a button to press that gives them, you know, a third better mobility. You know, the Orochi doesn't have a button to press where all of a sudden they can go 10 kilometers an hour faster and have 20% better traverse to give him a chance against a fast medium or a pesky light tank. That's the way I see it anyway. You know, there possibly is a counter argument to that that I've maybe not thought of, and I'd be interested to hear what anybody's got to say in the chat. But yeah, for me, premium rounds, fine to have them, but yeah, make them more tactical. Give them 2/3 of the damage. People are less likely to then just kind of automatically, the moment they see a giant heavy tank, to then use them. They'll maybe kind of try to be a bit more tactical. Track, move, manoeuvre, weak spots, all that good stuff. And, well, maybe the disadvantage of that, I guess maybe the counter to that argument is people go, well, we'll just play heavy tanks then, won't they? Well, maybe, yeah, that is possibly a negative of that, and maybe that's something that could then be addressed with a further fundamental change that I won't really mention in this one. So that's 2, and we are fast approaching the end of this battle, so I won't waste too much time on the third one. But for me, invisible tanks are silly and annoying. Now, there was a moment in this game around about 2 minutes 30 into the video where there was a Jagdpanther 2 sitting out completely in the open where I was looking and I couldn't see him. I really like True Vision from Cold War. I'm not a big Cold War fan, but one thing I really do like is True Vision, and I would love to see True Vision come into World War II. Now, I reckon the problem and the reason why we maybe don't get True Vision in World War II is artillery, but we're getting rid of them anyway, so it's fine. We get rid of artillery, we make premium rounds do 2/3 of the damage to stop people spamming them so much, and stop disadvantaging heavily armoured tanks massively. They don't get a special button to make their tank a third better, and we bring in True Vision to World War II, and yeah, so now you're not getting killed by somebody you can't see or clicking at you from the back of the map. Now when you're in a heavy tank, your armour might actually have some kind of value, and there's no more invisible tanks in the game. So what's the three least fun things in the game? Getting hit by somebody you can't see, and your armour not meaning anything. I think I've just fixed World of Tanks, by the way, folks. I think we've just fixed World of Tanks. Yeah, that wasn't that hard, I'm not going to lie. That wasn't that hard, it was dead easy actually. So yeah, look me up, Wargaming, and we'll sign a contract, because obviously these are all my original ideas and nobody's ever suggested them before. And yeah, I'll give you a good price for my ideas, I really will. But yeah, I jest a little bit at the end, folks. That's the 3 fundamental changes that I would make to the game, though. I know they're quite controversial. I know they're not going to happen. I mean, if they've not reduced the damaging value of premium rounds in 10 years, they're not going to do them now, are they? If they've not got rid of artillery in 10 years, they're not going to get rid of them. True vision, that's something I could possibly see maybe happening. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate you listening as you've managed to make it to this point. I'm fed up with the sound of my own voice, even myself now. But yeah, thanks for watching, folks. Catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.